There is likely already work being done behind closed doors at Mercedes, and it is being done to answer one simple question: who will eventually replace Lewis Hamilton? Parting ways with their talisman after a decade is bound to be difficult, but as the clock approaches Hamilton's 40th birthday, it is something that must be done. When asked if he would still be racing in his 40s, the 7-time world champion responded, "Tough question. He is under contract with Mercedes until the end of 2023. That's even if he sticks around for his 17th year on the grid, considering his team's alarming drop-off in performance at the start of the new regulatory era, having dominated F1 with 8 straight constructors' titles." So, with George Russell almost certainly staying for a while after a strong start since his promotion, who will fill the void left by arguably the greatest racer of all time? Max Verstappen. Let's start with the obvious match made in heaven. The reigning world champion joining the dominant team of recent times. What could possibly go wrong? Very little probably, if it actually had any chance of happening. But realistically it does not. Not only were Mercedes and Verstappen's Red Bull team effectively sworn enemies as their 2021 title race reached pitch fever, but the Dutchman also recently signed a new 6-year contract worth a reported £40 million per year. The 24-year-old has been a part of the Red Bull family since he entered F1 at the age of 17 and appears unlikely to sever ties with that monster deal. And just for good measure, Red Bull is destroying Mercedes this season. Verstappen said after winning the championship last year that he wanted to stay at Red Bull for life, and the new contract, which is in addition to Verstappen's current Red Bull contract, will keep the Dutchman at the team until he is 30. I really enjoy being a part of the Oracle Red Bull racing team, so choosing to stay to the 2028 season was an easy decision. I love this team, and last year was simply incredible. Our goal since we came together in 2016 was to win the championship, and we have done that. So now it's about keeping the number 1 on the car long term. So while Mercedes would love to have arguably the best 2 drivers on the grid in their garage, it is safe to say that it's unlikely to happen. Lando Norris. A lineup that includes 2 formidable childhood rivals and friends who later become teammates. What else could possibly go wrong? Russell and Norris, on the other hand, are not Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Toto Wolff would never go through that again, but is the blend the right one? Quite possibly not, because, as brilliant as the 2 young Britons are, they may be too similar in terms of experience, style, and marketability, and neither would want to be anything other than the top dog. Norris, like Verstappen, has signed a long-term contract with McLaren. Nonetheless, we suspect that contract is more likely than the other to include a release clause, making that possibility more realistic. Lando Norris has signed a new contract with McLaren that will keep him with the team until at least the end of 2025. Norris says he is delighted to have signed a new contract after his most successful season in the sport, finishing 6th in the 2021 standings with 4 podiums and 160 points, making it all the more unrealistic to expect him to switch teams. Teams are about people, and I love the people and feel at home at McLaren. I have grown up in this team, and I'm part of this journey we're all on. So since it's not Lando Norris or Max Verstappen, let's look at some more realistic candidates. Pierre Gasly. If Mercedes has little chance of luring Verstappen away from Red Bull, Gasly would be much easier to entice, not least because his contract expires at the end of 2023, and as things currently stand, that could be ideal for succeeding Hamilton. Following an excellent 2021 season, it was widely assumed that the Frenchman was ready for a move to a top team, having mixed it with those top teams throughout the campaign, particularly in qualifying. However, there is a yellow flag and possibly a red flag. The first is that Gasly's progress has stalled this season, with him currently trailing teammate Yuki Tsunoda in an admittedly less competitive AlphaTauri. Worryingly, he was quickly dropped after failing to handle his promotion to Red Bull in 2019. Nonetheless, he is older and wiser now, and his desire to compete for victories in a top team could turn things around. For the first time since Perez's new contract was announced, Gasly said in Baku that he was more open-minded about his long-term F1 future. When asked by the media if his high rating put him in a strong position in the driver market, Gasly replied, "I don't know if you can call that a strong position, but at the moment for sure. Beyond 2023, I consider all options, as I don't have anything beyond that. So for now we'll see. These are things we need to discuss with Helmut Marko. Obviously they want to keep me, and they want to keep me in the program. But as I say, we need to see how to make this work, and just normal conversations are ongoing." Valtteri Bottas. A remarkable return to Mercedes for Bottas could be an excellent fit in terms of yin and yang between teammates. After all, Hamilton and Wolff saw the Finn's tenacity as the antidote to Rosberg's tigerish demeanor. Bottas had to make way for Russell after 5 years at Brackley, but he is providing a rock-solid reminder of his qualities in a much faster Alfa Romeo car than even he was probably expecting. A comeback for Mercedes? If Wolff's parting message about some of the impressive stats Bottas has accumulated during his time there is any indication, don't rule it out. Well, maybe you go on a little bit of a sabbatical with Alfa Romeo, and then we see how many more numbers we can add. Esteban Ocon. Although he lacks the racing ability of Verstappen or Norris, Ocon is someone who could easily fill Hamilton's shoes. Why? Let's start by turning back the clock. Wolff has long mentioned Ocon for stardom, even before Russell first arrived in the Austrian's office at the age of 15 with his schoolboy suit and PowerPoint presentation. Wolff oversaw the Frenchman's F1 career, which included stints with Mana Marussia, Racing Point, and Alpine, for whom he won the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix. We know how Wolff plotted a route to the Mercedes team for Russell, and he may have well been doing exactly the same with Ocon, just via a slightly more roundabout route with the odd detour thrown in. Remember that Ocon, who was on a gap year at the time, was rumored to be replacing Bottas for the following season halfway through 2019. Of course that did not happen, and he instead went to Renault. Ocon, now 25, took some time to impress, but since the team's rebranding to Alpine, he's had an ideal benchmark to compare himself to in Fernando Alonso. Last season, the two-time world champion outscored him by 7 points. This time, Ocon leads by 20 points after only 7 races. Yes, Alonso has had some bad luck, but he is still making good progress. So, Esteban Ocon and Valtteri Bottas appear to be the most likely candidates for the coveted seat, with Pierre Gasly having an outside chance. But how likely is it that Lewis Hamilton will retire after 2023? Hamilton himself has reacted angrily to the notion of retirement. When asked by Corriere della Sera if he would continue racing until he was 40, he simply replied, "Why would I stop? Let's take this season. I probably won't win the title, but I feel the same pleasure of competing as when I started. Maybe one day I won't be able to take the pressure anymore. I'll be tired. But that day hasn't come yet." In fact, Hamilton has already addressed the retirement rumors on multiple occasions this season. Hamilton posted a cryptic social media message at Imola, claiming he would decide when his masterpiece was complete. The Mercedes star even stated that quitting due to adversity was not in his DNA. He explained, "I've been with Mercedes since I was 13. We've had amazing times together. We've ridden the highs and lows together. I am 100% committed to this team. There's nowhere else that I want to be. Just because we've hit a rough patch, it's just not in my DNA to back out." However, former F1 world champion Jacques Villeneuve chimed in last month, questioning whether Hamilton will still be a Mercedes at the end of the season. Will Hamilton still be there in 2-3 years? Will he even reach the end of this season? You can't see into someone's head. You can be down and depressed, or you can be unable to deal with no longer winning. Then maybe it's time to decide life is better without racing. What are your thoughts on all the speculation about Hamilton's retirement? Is it imminent? If he does retire anytime soon, who will replace him? We'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos.